The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead as Marcus Reynolds, the ruthless CEO, stepped into the cold, sterile corridor of the hospital morgue. His day had been brutal, deals falling apart, lawsuits threatening his empire. And yet none of it had prepared him for what he was about to see. A clipboard caught his eye, and his breath froze. Ava Collins. The name was printed neatly on the sheet. His ex, the woman he had loved, fought for, and lost. For a moment, the world narrowed to that single word. Memories flashed, late-night arguments, stolen kisses, promises broken. He thought he had moved on. He thought she was gone. But seeing her name in that cold, clinical setting made him realize one terrifying truth. His heart had never truly let her go. Marcus Reynolds' life looked perfect from the outside, a sleek apartment overlooking Manhattan, a corner office with floor-to-ceiling glass, and a reputation as one of the youngest, most ruthless CEOs in the financial world. To anyone watching, he had it all: wealth, power, control. But behind the tailored suits and the confident smiles lay a man chained to regrets he couldn't erase. Years ago, Ava Collins had been the one light in his meticulously calculated life. She was passionate, fearless, and somehow managed to make him feel humane, a feeling he hadn't known he'd been starving for. They had loved with intensity, argued with fire, and ultimately destroyed what they couldn't hold. Marcus had walked away, convinced that love would only weaken him. Ava had left as well, disappearing into her own world. And Marcus buried his heartbreak beneath mergers, acquisitions, and endless boardroom battles. The office phone rang endlessly that morning. Every call was another reminder that the empire demanded more than one man could give. Yet he answered with a practiced calm, ignoring the quiet ache in his chest. Clients, lawyers, investors, they all wanted pieces of him, but none asked the questions that haunted him at night. Is it too late? Did I ruin it all? He glanced at his phone and froze. A hospital alert, not an emergency he could delegate. Something about an incident involving Ava's name had triggered a notification. His stomach churned. A hospital? Why? Marcus had always avoided hospitals. Memories of illness, vulnerability, and loss made the sterile halls suffocating. But curiosity and fear drove him forward. He parked his car and strode through the emergency doors, blending into the anxious crowd. Doctors and nurses passed by, unaware of the storm brewing inside the man who had conquered markets but never mastered his own emotions. As he approached the morgue corridor, he felt the chill. Not just the temperature. This was the cold of inevitability. The quiet hum of fluorescent lights and the faint metallic scent made him acutely aware of each heartbeat in his chest. He walked past rows of drawers and a clipboard caught his attention. And there it was, Ava Collins. His world stopped. The name, printed on the sheet, looked impossibly real. Panic surged, followed by disbelief. Memories flooded in. The night she left, the whispered promises, the way she had smiled at him when he had been too stubborn to say "I love you" back. A nurse walked past and Marcus felt frozen in place. He wanted to call her name, but his voice refused to obey. He dared not look inside the drawer yet, terrified that the woman he loved, lost or not, was truly gone. He leaned against the cold counter, trying to steady his breathing. I should have fought harder. I should have told her. Regret slammed into him like a tidal wave. He had spent years building empires, yet he had failed to protect the one thing that mattered most: love. Just then, a muffled sound movement. He looked again. The drawer shifted slightly. Confusion turned into shock. Had he misread the name? Or was Ava really here, alive? His heart raced. Marcus knew one thing with certainty. Whatever awaited him inside that morgue would change everything. His past, his future, even the life he thought he controlled so perfectly, was about to unravel. Marcus Reynolds' fingers trembled as he reached for the handle of the morgue drawer. His mind raced faster than his heartbeat. Was this a cruel joke? A mistake? Or the reality he had been too afraid to confront for years? The sterile air of the morgue seemed to constrict around him, the cold metallic scent filling his lungs with every panicked inhale. He slowly pulled the drawer open, expecting the worst, but instead of the lifeless form he feared, there was a folded hospital gown, neatly arranged, with Ava Collins' name tag pinned to it. His hands shook as he picked it up. What? What is this? Marcus whispered to no one in particular. A voice behind him made him jump. Marcus. He spun around. There she was, Ava, alive, standing at the end of the corridor. Her hair damp from the hospital's humid air, eyes wide with a mixture of fear and defiance. For a heartbeat, he thought he was hallucinating. Ava, his voice cracked, low and rough. I saw your name on the sheet. She stepped closer, her expression unreadable. I know. It looks bad, doesn't it? bad. Ava, he struggled for words. Years of suppressed emotions, regrets, and longing finally poured out in a rush. I thought you were gone. Dead. I didn't know. Ava shook her head, eyes glistening. No, Marcus. I'm not dead, but I had to disappear, for both our sakes. Marcus's chest tightened. Disappear? You vanished from my life. I spent years thinking I'd lost you forever. I know, she said softly, and I'm sorry. I thought you'd moved on. That you'd built a life without me. I didn't want to complicate it. Not then. He stepped closer, unable to resist the pull of his emotions. Complicate it? Ava, do you have any idea what it's done to me? I've been living with regret every single day. Every deal, every meeting, every achievement meant nothing without you. Ava's lips quivered. Marcus, it wasn't easy for me either. I had to protect myself. I had to heal. But now, I'm here, and you deserve to know the truth. She gestured toward the drawer. That sheet, that gown. I was declared clinically dead for a short period. It was a medical error, a mix-up during a procedure. I woke up hours later, but the hospital never corrected the paperwork. I didn't know how to reach you without risking your wrath or yours to believe me. Marcus ran a hand through his hair, overwhelmed by relief, disbelief, and lingering anger. You mean, I could have lost you, really lost you, and I wouldn't even have known? Ava nodded, tears welling in her eyes. Yes, and I didn't want to lose you again. That's why I stayed hidden. I needed to be sure before reaching out. Marcus's knees threatened to buckle. All the walls he had built around himself, his stoic demeanor, his corporate armor crumbled in that single, unbearable moment. Ava, His words failed him. He wanted to yell, to beg, to apologize. But none of it seemed enough. She stepped closer. Their proximity filling the morgue with tension that had nothing to do with the cold air. Marcus, you don't have to say anything. Just, see me. He did. He saw her, the woman who had made him laugh, who had challenged him, who had walked away leaving a void he had tried and failed to fill. She was real, alive, right in front of him, and she still looked at him like he mattered. A silence hung between them, broken only by the distant hum of hospital machinery. Marcus swallowed hard, his throat tight. I don't know what to say. I can't believe you. I don't even know where to start. Start by taking a breath, Ava said, a small smile breaking through her tears. You've spent years carrying guilt and regret. You don't have to carry it anymore. He laughed bitterly, the sound echoing off the cold walls. Guilt doesn't just disappear. Not for me. Not after everything. Maybe not, she admitted, but sometimes, the truth is enough to start over. Marcus's gaze fell on the sheet again, the gown in his hands. His pulse slowed as comprehension set in. The near-death experience had forced Ava to disappear, but it had also preserved her life. Somehow, fate had given them a second chance. He looked back at her. Second chance, he whispered. You mean, you're giving us a second chance? Ava's nod was almost imperceptible. If you're willing to take it. If you can forgive me, and yourself. Marcus's hand closed around the gown. He realized something profound in that moment. Power, wealth, and success had never mattered. Love, raw, messy, complicated, was the only thing that did. He took a tentative step forward. I want to try, Ava. I don't care about the empire, the deals, the boardrooms. I only care about you. Tears spilled down her cheeks. I wanted to hear you say that for years. For a long moment, they just stood there, two people who had lost everything, yet somehow found each other again. The morgue, once a place of finality and fear, had become the unlikely setting for their rebirth. Outside, the world continued. Hospital staff moved about. Cars honked in the distance. Life went on. But inside that corridor, time had paused. Two hearts, once broken, were beginning to beat in sync again. Marcus finally broke the silence. We'll need time. I'll make it up to you. Every wrong, every day I was absent. I'll fix it. Starting now. Ava stepped closer and placed her hand on his chest, feeling the steady thrum of his heart. No promises, Marcus. Life doesn't work that way. But, we'll see. Together. Marcus exhaled, a heavy, long breath that seemed to release the last 5 years of regret. Together, he echoed. And as they stood in that cold, metallic room, something warm and unshakable began to grow. Redemption, forgiveness, and the fragile hope of a love once lost now found again. The morgue, once a place of despair, had become the threshold of a second chance. The hospital corridor felt different now, though the chill in the air remained. Marcus walked beside Ava, keeping a careful distance, his mind a whirlwind of thoughts he had suppressed for years. Each step was heavy, yet purposeful. This wasn't just a reunion, it was the beginning of reckoning. "Marcus, you should sit," Ava said softly, motioning to a nearby bench. Her voice carried authority, but underneath it was caution. The kind that only comes from surviving heartbreak. He shook his head. "No. I need to walk. I need to think. To feel." She studied him for a moment, the corner of her lips twitching. "You've changed." Marcus allowed himself a brief, bitter laugh. "Changed. Maybe. But I still carry the same mistakes." "You carry more than mistakes. You carry love. And regret. And if you're lucky, you carry hope." Her words hit him harder than anything the business world had thrown at him. Hope. He hadn't allowed himself that luxury in years. They walked silently past the sterile walls. Past the rows of locked drawers. Past the faint scent of antiseptic and loss. Memories of their shared past pressed in from all sides: late-night arguments, stolen kisses, whispered promises. All of it, for a long time, had been buried beneath Marcus's obsession with control and success. "I need to know something, Ava," he finally said. "Why didn't you contact me sooner? I would have done anything to find you." Her eyes softened, but her jaw remained firm. "I couldn't. When I left, it was for survival. And after the medical error, I didn't know if you'd even believe me. I didn't want to risk being rejected again." Marcus's chest tightened. "Rejected, Ava? You disappeared. You didn't leave me a choice. I lived thinking you were gone. And every single day, I regretted not fighting harder." She placed a hand gently on his arm. "You did fight, Marcus. Just, not in the way you think. Sometimes fighting isn't about winning someone back immediately. Sometimes it's about being ready to accept them when the time is right." He looked at her, stunned by the truth in her words. She wasn't just speaking, she was teaching him something he had refused to learn for years. Love required patience, humility, and vulnerability. A small smile crept across Marcus's face. "I don't know if I'm ready for patience," he admitted, "but I know I can't go another day without trying." Ava nodded, the faintest relief in her eyes. "That's all I ask." Trying. They found themselves outside the hospital, the sky painted in the pale gold of early evening. Cars rushed by, indifferent to the drama of two hearts mending. Marcus paused, staring at the horizon. "It feels surreal, seeing you again, standing here with you alive. I almost lost you for good." "You didn't," she said softly. "You almost lost me." "Yes. But here we are. That counts for something." He turned toward her, eyes brimming with emotion. "It counts for everything." For a moment, neither spoke. Just the sound of the city, the faint hum of traffic, and the gentle rustle of wind around them. Marcus realized that this was their second chance, fragile and tender, but real. "Marcus," Ava began, "there's something else you should know." He froze. "What is it?" She hesitated, then exhaled. "I don't expect us to jump back into what we had, but I want to trust again, and that means taking things slowly. No assumptions, no rushing. Can you do that?" Marcus considered her words. Slowly, he nodded. I'll do whatever it takes to rebuild what we lost, one day at a time." Ava smiled genuinely this time. The tension that had weighed her shoulders for years seemed to lift slightly. "Good, because I think we both deserve that chance." They walked in silence, a quiet understanding forming between them. The past still haunted them, but now it was a reminder, not a prison. Marcus felt an unfamiliar warmth, a mix of relief, gratitude, and cautious hope. As they reached the hospital exit, he caught a glimpse of his reflection in the glass doors. A man hardened by life, yet softened by love. The years of arrogance, the walls built around his heart, they were still there, but cracks had begun to form. Cracks that light and forgiveness could seep through. Ava turned to him once more. "Marcus, I don't know what the future holds, but I want to find out with you." He took her hand gently, gripping it as though it were the only lifeline he would ever need. "Then we'll find out together." And in that quiet evening, on the bustling streets of New York, Marcus Reynolds began to understand that life's greatest victories weren't measured in wealth or power. They were measured in love regained, hearts mended, and the courage to face the past without fear. The night descended around them, but inside Marcus, a new light flickered, light that refused to be extinguished. A second chance had begun, and he would do everything in his power to honor it. The following days were a whirlwind of emotions for Marcus Reynolds. He returned to his office, but the skyscraper walls, once symbols of power, now felt empty and meaningless. Meetings, deals, and acquisitions, the very things that had defined him, seemed trivial in the shadow of Ava's return. He kept replaying the morgue scene in his mind, her name on that sheet, the fear, the relief, The first time their eyes met again, every heartbeat reminded him of the fragility of life and the consequences of lost love. Ava, on the other hand, was cautious. Though she had survived the medical error and returned, she wasn't ready to surrender completely. Old wounds lingered, the years of silence, the betrayal she felt when Marcus walked away, the emotional void they both endured. She wanted clarity, honesty, and proof that Marcus had truly changed. One evening, Marcus found her waiting in a quiet cafe near the hospital. The amber glow of hanging lights painted the room in warmth. He approached cautiously, unsure how to navigate the delicate balance between passion and past mistakes. "Ava," he began, voice low, "I know I can't erase the past, but I need you to understand. I never stopped caring. Not for a single day." She looked at him, eyes sharp yet soft, as if testing his sincerity. "Marcus, it's not just about caring. You left, you made choices that hurt me. Do you even realize what it felt like to think you were gone forever?" He swallowed hard, feeling the weight of her words like bricks pressing down on his chest. "I do now. Every day I've regretted it. I've built empires, signed deals, amassed wealth, but none of it mattered when I realized the one thing I wanted most was you." Ava studied him, searching for the man she once loved. She wanted to see proof, not just hear promises. "Words are easy," she said. "I need actions. I need to see that you've changed, that you won't run again." Marcus leaned in closer, earnest and vulnerable. "Then, let me prove it. I'll do whatever it takes to earn your trust back. I can't undo the past, but I can fight for the future with you." For a moment, Ava's defenses faltered. She remembered the late nights, the small gestures of kindness, the man who had once made her feel alive. Yet, old scars still throbbed. She nodded slowly, a silent agreement to let him try, but cautiously. On her terms. The next week became a test of patience and sincerity. Marcus set aside his corporate demands to spend time with her. He accompanied her to routine checkups, helped organize paperwork from the hospital incident, and truly listened to her fears, frustrations, and unspoken thoughts. Each act, small as it seemed, chipped away at the walls Ava had built. Marcus' vulnerability, his willingness to set aside ego and power, slowly proved that he wasn't the man who had abandoned her before. He was a different man now, one shaped by regret, self-awareness, and love. One evening, as they walked through the quiet streets of New York, Ava finally spoke the words she had held back. "Marcus, I see it now. I see that you're trying, that you're not the same man who left me, but fear doesn't disappear overnight. I need time. Can you be patient?" Marcus smiled, a mix of relief and determination in his gaze. "I have all the time in the world for you, Ava. I'll wait, fight, and prove it every single day. I'll do whatever it takes, not for me, but for us." They stopped near the park where they had first met years ago. The city hummed around them, unaware of the delicate reconciliation unfolding in a quiet corner. Ava looked at him, her eyes glistening, and finally allowed herself to hope. "Then we start slowly," she said, "step by step. No assumptions, no rushing." "Step by step," he echoed, squeezing her hand gently, as they walked through the park. Shadows of the past lingered, but a new light had begun to emerge. Marcus knew that earning Ava's trust wouldn't be instantaneous, but he also knew something deeper and undeniable. The heart, once broken, could heal if met with love, honesty, and unwavering commitment. The night ended with a tentative but meaningful promise. Marcus would fight for Ava, and Ava would allow him the chance. Together, they would navigate the unspoken truths and past wounds, step by step, toward a future neither dared to imagine before. And in that quiet moment, Marcus Reynolds understood the ultimate lesson life had taught him. True power wasn't in wealth or authority, it was in love, trust, and the courage to face one's own mistakes. Days turned into weeks, and Marcus Reynolds felt a shift within himself he hadn't known possible. The ruthless CEO who once thrived on deadlines, contracts, and stock market battles now found meaning in simple moments with Ava. Walking beside her, sharing quiet dinners, and listening to her stories became his new currency. Yet, even as they cautiously rebuilt their bond, the shadow of the past lingered. Memories of abandonment, pain, and unanswered questions haunted Ava, reminding her that trust, once broken, wasn't easily mended. Marcus understood that. Every smile he coaxed from her, every word of reassurance, every act of patience was his way of proving that he had changed, not just for her, but for himself. One evening, the city skyline glowed amber as the sun dipped behind the skyscrapers. Marcus and Ava found themselves on the rooftop of his apartment, the lights of New York twinkling like stars below them. He took her hand gently, feeling the warmth of her fingers intertwined with his. "Ava," he began, his voice low and deliberate. "I don't want to waste another day. I've spent years chasing power, thinking it defined me, but it never did. You define me. You always have." Her eyes glistened in the fading light, tears threatening to spill. "Marcus, I want to believe you. I want to trust that this time, it's real." "It is," he promised, his grip tightening ever so slightly. "No games, no ego. Just us, starting now." For a long moment, silence enveloped them, soft, comforting, and electric all at once. Then, slowly, Ava leaned in, her forehead resting against his. "I've missed this," she whispered. "I've missed you." "I've missed you too," he said, closing his eyes, feeling the weight of every regret, every lost day, finally lift. "More than I can put into words." The city below continued its endless hum, unaware of the quiet miracle unfolding above. Marcus and Ava stood together, two hearts once fractured, now tentatively mending. Their shared past, the pain, the mistakes, the separation had shaped them, but it no longer defined their future. In the following days, Marcus made small but meaningful changes to his life. He delegated more at work, letting go of control where it wasn't necessary, and prioritized the emotional bonds he had ignored for so long. Each act, each gesture toward Ava reinforced the promise he had made on that rooftop. He wasn't perfect, but he was committed. Ava too allowed herself to embrace vulnerability again. She let Marcus in, cautiously, step by step. Together, they laughed, argued, and shared moments that reminded them of why they had fallen in love, years ago. One quiet Sunday morning, Marcus and Ava revisited the hospital, the very place that had sparked this unexpected reunion. Standing in the hallway, Marcus turned to her with a tentative smile. "You know," he said softly, "I never want to experience fear like that again. Losing you, it's something I could never bear twice." Ava's lips curved into a gentle smile. "Then don't. Stay by my side. Let's not waste another moment." Marcus nodded, pulling her close. "I promise. No more running, no more walls. Just us." As they embraced, the past seemed to dissolve, leaving only the warmth of the present and the promise of a future together. Love, they realized, wasn't about perfection or timing. It was about showing up, even when fear and uncertainty loomed. And in Marcus's heart, there was no doubt, he would show up for Ava, every day, for the rest of their lives. The morgue, once a place of fear and despair, had become the unlikely starting point of their second chance. The hospital halls that had echoed with panic and regret now echoed with laughter, hope, and love renewed. Marcus and Ava walked out into the city streets hand in hand, a symbol of resilience, forgiveness, and the undeniable power of love. And though the world around them continued in its relentless pace, they moved forward together, stronger for the trials they had endured, and ready for the life they were destined to share. For Marcus Reynolds, the ruthless CEO who thought he could conquer the world alone, the greatest victory was not in power or wealth, it was in reclaiming the woman he loved, proving that hearts, even when broken, can find their way home. And in Ava's eyes, he saw not only forgiveness but the spark of forever. The second chance they had been given was fragile, precious, and real, and this time, neither of them intended to let it go. Did Marcus truly deserve a second chance? Could love really overcome years of regret and separation? Stories like his remind us that life is unpredictable, hearts can heal, and love can find a way, even when all seems lost. If this story touched you, share your thoughts in the comments. Tell us if you've ever experienced a love you thought was gone forever. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more emotional millionaire romance and second chance love stories that will make you laugh, cry, and believe in love again.